It's the 2022 World Cup. It's Morocco's players. Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccerphiles Canada. I'm Kevin and I am flying solo today. We will be looking today at Morocco's squad for the 2022 World Cup. Short version, please. So that's the end of the player-by-player section. We'll go back to some of the takeaways again to kind of repeat. Now we can put names to some of these positions. I didn't want to do that at the beginning because I thought it would be a bit confusing, but we talked about a lack of balance in positions. So some positions like left defense or attacking midfield, they have too many players in those positions, and in other positions, maybe not right defense now, but perhaps, but definitely in defensive and central midfielders and on the wings, left and right. I should say left and right midfielders, more defense-minded midfielders. They're a bit short, so they're likely to move players as they did in the 2021 African Cup, move players into positions that they don't normally start in. That's the takeaway from that. And then in terms of specifics, we saw that left back Adam Messina has been playing as a right back for quite a while. Sofiane Amrabat is a pretty established central or defensive midfielder, but they seem to kind of mix and match in terms of adding players to that midfield. So they tried out central defender Sami Mamé in the role of a stopper, and he was only the stopper in one of the 3 games where they tried that formation. They moved attacking midfielder Ilias Chair and Salim Amala into kind of a central midfield role too. In terms of the wings, they have attacking midfielder Sofiane Boufal. He held down the left midfield position there for a while at least, and the right midfield position in the African Cup saw virtually a different player every game. So Unahi played that position twice, and then they tried Tissou Dali there. He's a left winger, but they put him over to right midfielder. They tried Louza, who's a central midfielder, over there, and they tried forward Munir El Haddadi, all taking a crack at that right midfield role. But now that there's Hakim Ziyech might be coming back, even though he's more of an attacking right midfielder, he is on the right. So I would imagine he would be in that position. But if they do put him in that position, they will have to maybe enlist some more defensive midfielders. And then for forwards, they were rotated at first with left winger Zakaria Aboukal starting as a lone forward in game 1 of the African Cup, which took me by surprise. But then it seemed like Ayoub El Kabi, who we had actually predicted as a substitute, came in and nailed down the position. And Youssef En-Nesyri, who I think was injured at the beginning of the African Cup or recovering from an injury, also came into play. And since then, Tissou Dali has been kind of vying with En-Nesyri for that position. But we'll see. We need a bit more on that. Okay, so that is a review of the takeaway from the previous podcast, and we're just going to do a couple of things to think about what Morocco looks like coming into this cup. So in terms of club affiliations, wow, they're actually quite impressive. Most of their players playing at least for second tier clubs, and I'm talking about names like Udinese, Fiorentina, West Ham. I hope I'm not insulting people by calling these second tier clubs, but solid clubs, Benfica, Zamalek in Egypt, maybe actually not that many players from the clubs in Morocco, but there is Anna Zaniti, the goalkeeper, plays for Raja Casablanca, and another with Wydad, a couple of players with Wydad Casablanca. But I would say for the most part, fairly solid second tier teams. But we're going to highlight a couple of players' club affiliation here, because we have Ashraf Hakimi, who plays for the elite club Paris Saint-Germain. And then the player who was not selected because of discord with the manager, Nusser Mazraoui, plays for Bayern Munich, or recently moved to Bayern Munich. So I'm sure the new manager will give him a look. Sevilla is kind of in that category of like solid second tier teams, but maybe arguably a top tier team, however you want to make of it. I'm highlighting them here because these guys have 3 players. I thought it was more than that, but anyway, on my list here is 3. Yassine Bounou, Youssef El Nesri, the forward, and Munir Al Haddadi, the forward also, all playing for Sevilla. And then a couple of young players to keep an eye on. One of them is Abdi Ezal Zuli, who may be going by a different name, maybe just Abdi. Anyway, he's with Barcelona B, and Spain and Morocco are kind of fighting for his services. And then we have the goalkeeper I mentioned, Sami Klemkani, with Chelsea, but he's one kind of for the future, probably won't make inroads in this World Cup. They already have they already have a bit of a struggle in terms of selecting goalkeepers. Okay, and finally, we'll look at the age and experience of the team. So I have basically made up my own list here of kind of, I would say, the definite, likely, and possible players for the most part. So this is a bit of a rough estimate, but I've listed 33 players among the ones I've chosen today, not the ones who just play a game here and there. And I've come up with the average age of 25.8. So that is actually quite good. Like, that's the prime of players' career. They only have a couple of players in their 30s. We mentioned Faisal Fajr, who is in his 30s. A couple of the goalies too, we noted, are in their 30s. So Bounou and what's his name? Sorry, Munir Mohand, both of them in their 30s, but that's okay for a goalie, and that's about it. Jawad Ali Amik is 32, and Roman Saiz is the other one, kind of maybe approaching retirement age. But a lot of the bigger names that we've talked about are in their mid-20s, so a very good age for the team. I would say they have a couple of tournaments left in them with basically the same group of players. So looking good on the age front. In terms of caps, the average number of caps is 19. So I don't know what to make of that. Maybe a bit inexperienced. Again, Faisal Fajr is the one with the most caps at 51. Those 2 goalies, I got confused because they have Munir Mohand as Munir Al Kadri, that he sometimes goes by that name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They both have 43, and actually the player with the most caps is Captain Roman Saiz. So all of those players, being older, have more caps. The rest have basically around 20 or less, apart from some players who have played a lot, like Ashraf Hakimi. So maybe slightly lacking in experience. Yusuf El Nesri has 48. And the next after that, I think, is Sofian Amrabat with 36. So not that experienced, but perhaps it doesn't matter that much. And just for fun, the total number of goals among these players is, among these 35 players, is 68. So that's actually a little bit low. But I know that they were a highly defensive team up until the 2019, I think, African Cup, and they looked a bit more attacking in 2021. So I'm hoping to see a bit more of an attacking team. Hang on, I'm not, because I want Canada to do well. So I'm not really hoping to see that. But in terms of Morocco, hoping to see a bit more of an attacking team. Okay, just a quick look at players to watch. Of course, Achraf Hakimi is player to keep an eye on. He takes free kicks. He's a left defender, but he's a real leader on the team. He plays free kicks. He is kind of involved in the attack. He has 8 goals, and he plays for Paris Saint-Germain. The forwards, I think all 3 of them will be visible in the World Cup. So Ayoub El Kabi, probably the main forward there, and Yusuf En Nesri and Tariq Tissoudali. The forwards, they'll be kind of responsible for scoring the goals. And then a few veterans. Yassine Bounou, the goalkeeper, will almost certainly be starting. And Romain Saiss, the captain, well, look for him coming up for corner kicks, as well as being a rock in the defense there. Sofiane Boufal, I think he will be a bit of a playmaker on the left side, even though he's an attacking, called an attacking midfielder. And then just this player, Abdi Ezalzouli. So Morocco were hoping to get him. They put him on the preliminary roster for the 2021 African Cup, kind of more in hope than in fact. He seems like he's still deciding between Morocco and Spain. But, you know, maybe this being a World Cup will help him make his decision. And of course, Morocco will be hoping that he falls their way. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the podcast on Morocco. I just want to have the list of players at the very end here, so I'm going to copy them in, but I won't go through them all. I won't go through them all again. No, actually, what we did last time was kind of our starting lineup, so maybe I'll kind of do that on the fly here. I'm gonna wing it and try to do this. So starting lineup. So the manager will be not Vahid Halilhodžić, but will be Walid Regragui. And I hope in the future they look towards a manager whose name is easier to pronounce. For goalkeepers, I'm going to say it's definitely Yassine Bounou. Munir Mohand is the backup now. For central defenders, it's going to be Romain Saiss and Naif Edouard. I shouldn't say it so confidently. They could get injured or something like that, but the standard starting lineup will be those 2. As a left back, again, if fit, definitely Achraf Hakimi. But on the right back, I wonder if Adam Massini will be challenged. And so I'm going to leave Soufiane Alakoutch and Noussair Mazraoui as possible candidates there to replace Nabil Dirar, who is retired and had the position before that. Midfielders, at the back, they really don't have any defensive midfielders. So I'm just going to kind of show that position is not really being filled. But central midfielders, Sofian Amrabat And although he plays a bit more on the wing, it seems, Azzedine Ounahi, but I'm going to put him as likely there, and I may be wrong in doing that. And we'll say goodbye to the retired Mbark Boussoufa, who is a bit of a loss in the midfield there. Left midfielders, no. They may turn to a couple of these guys, Amin Harit or Mohamed Chibi. It seems right now they're just kind of trying them out. And one of the things they're doing is replacing right midfielder Nordin Amrabat, who they still haven't found an actual right midfielder for. Left wingers, we only have possible candidates here, Zakaria Abukal and Soufiane Rahimi. I wonder if Rahimi is a bit more favored there. But I'm going to leave up the young player with Barcelona, Abdi Ezalzouli. And I'm also going to leave up the possible right winger, Hakim Ziyech, because they'll definitely use him if, if he joins the team again. As far as attacking midfielders go, we'll say Salim Amala, although he's been playing more in the central midfielder, though perhaps in a attacking role. I'm going to leave Sofiane Boufal up there too as a likely candidate. And in the forward line, Ayoub El Kabi and Youssef En Neftri are pretty much definite as far as selection for the team go. And Toussoudali is probably the same, but I leave him as a likely because I think he's kind of the third in that equation. And also likely is Munir El Haddadi, although they have used him kind of on the wing more than as an actual forward. Okay, so we'll call that our prediction for the starting lineup at this point, with a few players kind of as maybes in there. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the podcast, and thank you so much for listening. And we will be doing an update in probably early November when they publish the preliminary squads, and we might wait until they finalize that squad. Meanwhile, we did do actually African teams, and we have done CONCACAF teams, so North and Central American teams. If you want to look back, of course, we're going to do podcasts for this World Cup, which will update those, but they are in prior podcasts. So if you look at the show notes for this, or if you check us out at soccerphiles.captivate.fm, I'll put it up on the screen for those who want to check YouTube. Again, you can check YouTube and just pop directly to the end and see this information in print. Or you can just search Soccer Files Canada. So Soccer Files is with a PH in the middle and an S at the end. And if you find our website, you'll be able to see the stuff we've done until now. 9 series in all. This is our 10th. And I'm going to say goodbye. So bye, and we hope we see you in our next podcast.